Hello lovely people, and thank you so much for clicking play. Thank you for the people who've subscribed. I always wanted to reach 300 subscribers, and we did reach 300 subscribers. I don't take that for granted. Now on this video, you've got to excuse me because I'll be brushing my hair and also applying some lotion because I am late, but I just decided, you know what, if you're late, you might as well show up looking fab, because I think it will take me about, from where my house is located, it will take me about 25 minutes to reach where I am supposed to be. And if I make this video for like maybe 10 or 15 minutes, that's how many minutes? 25 plus 10, 35 or 40 minutes. And I'm now like, oh, you know what, now that I calculated it, I just might make it on time. I'm not that late because I'm not going to go by bus. Somebody's going to pick me up, so I think it should be fine. Yeah, we still have time to talk, maybe 15 or 20 minutes. Yeah, I actually might make it because it's only 25 minutes away. Well, let's see. So you have to excuse me because that means I'm going to be getting ready. And I also am going with a different dress. I'm not wearing this. This is just what I wear around the house. But yeah, so the other dress is ready. I already ironed it. I just need to slip it on. On this video, I'm going to be telling you why I like Austrians. I am a Kenyan myself, but I live in Austria. You also have to excuse me because I am pouring myself some champagne before I go. And I don't have time to look for the champagne glass. So we're going to use a wine glass. A little bit of champagne before I go because I'm not going to be driving. I don't drive, I get driven, so that should be fine. And I am using a straw because of my lipstick. They just texted me. Okay, they are also going to be late. Woo! So we have time to chit chat. A message just came in. I normally record on my phone. So guys, I'm going to be telling you, I need some water. My throat is so dry. You know what's funny? I'm normally very relaxed before I make a video, and I don't script, I just talk from my mind. And I'm relaxed, but the moment I press play, I become nervous, even though I have 3 watchers, and thank you so much, my 3 watchers. I love you very much. And even though I'm alone in the house, I'm only speaking to my phone, but I still get very nervous. There's something about the red button. When you click play and you're recording and that red button shows up, it just makes you nervous. Anyways, I'm going to be telling you why I really love Austrian people. There are 3 groups of people that I really love on this planet: Canadians, Austrians, and Tanzanians. I am not from any of those countries. I am not from Canada. I am obviously not from here, Austria. I only have a house here, but I'm not originally from here. And I am not a Tanzanian. Tanzania is next door to Kenya. I am from Kenya, Nairobi. But my 3 best people have always been Canadians, Austrians, and Tanzanians. Today we are not going to be talking about Canadians, who I find to be extremely friendly and nice. We're not going to be talking about Tanzanians, who I think are very well behaved. Today we are going to be talking about the Austrians, the people who I see outside almost every day. And there's even one living in my house, i.e. my husband. I live with an Austrian man. Not every day because he has 2 places. There's this place, if you've been watching me, you already know that. There's another place in the big city, so he lives in between the 2 places, but you know, from time to time we live together. He happens to be an Austrian, and obviously his family will also be Austrian. So I do have experience living with them, working with them. Today I'm meeting some of them. There's something we have to go and do. And yeah, The first reason I absolutely love Austrian people is how well-mannered they are. Please, thank you, may I. Austrians share that with Tanzanians. Naomba niulize, tafadhali, asante, which is Swahili for may I ask, please, thank you. That is very common with Tanzanians as well, but like I said, today's video I'm focusing on Austrian people. It is very rare that you meet an Austrian who talks without please in their sentence. I think it's from their school. I think it's also the culture at home. We Kenyans sound like we are giving out a demand. Even when we're just like asking you to do something, we're like, tebu nipatilie hiyo kitu. Like, it's like we don't even mean it in a bad way. It's just the way we talk. Obviously, in every place, there's a different culture. You know, in Kenya, someone might just push you out of the way instead of telling you, excuse me. Of course, there's exceptions. Even in Austria, there are exceptions here. Some people are very rude, and obviously there are people who are discriminative, racist, you name it. There are some, you know, rats and snakes here as well. But I'm talking about a majority of Austrians. They are very well-mannered. They are very well-mannered. You will notice it, like you will get a culture shock if you come from a culture where people just directly talk, like they don't use please very much. Or, you know, Austrians, not only in speech, even the way they act when they go to a restaurant, for instance, they wait to be seated if they don't have a reservation. They are very, let me tell you something funny. My hubby, when we first met and I came to visit him in Austria, I kept on telling him in restaurants to speak up. I can't hear you, speak up. And I was like loud, and the next table would, you know, turn to look at us like, what is going on over there? Because he was almost whispering. And you notice that in restaurants they do that so that they don't bother the next table. It is just such good manners. They speak in low tones out in public. They will be like, may I please ask you, may I pass? Obviously in German, darf ich kurz fragen? Entschuldigung, darf ich, like, they are very orderly and good mannered. If you go to the train station, they queue up. Nobody is like jumping queue. Again, there will be exceptions, but in Austria, the majority, in my experience, have just been very well behaved, very well mannered people. I remember first time we went to like a public stadium to watch a game, and I was asking my husband, is this really a stadium where people come and watch games? Because everything is just so orderly. There are no hooligans. Nobody is causing trouble. They are queuing up. They are waiting one after the other. You wait your turn to get your ticket. If you come from Kenya and you've been to Nyayo Stadium and you've gone there to watch Gor Mahia Kogelo football games, you know that that is unheard of, because people push, people scream, people fight. There's police, the police will come, there will be tear gas, there will be all sorts of hooliganism. Same to the UK. They can be very, especially when it comes to football, they can be very rowdy in their football stadiums. So it's not only Kenyans, it's many nations. Italy, the UK, they can be very rowdy people. Austrians are proper in that sense, very well mannered. I like it when we go to eat out with my hubby or with friends, because I just know there will be, you know, order and there will be table manners. You don't see them speaking with their mouths open, full of food. I know that the children will not be loud in restaurants. The mothers will be like to the children. The children will be seated, and I know that there will be no confusion. I like it. I love it when, not even like it, love it when we go out to eat in a restaurant, because the experience will be good thanks to Austrians behaving themselves very well, very orderly. Also on the roads, I love that road rage is not common. My hubby drives, and of course, again, please do not come for me. There will be exceptions. I am just talking about the majority. Exception does not make the general rule, right? And also in Kenya, obviously, there will be people who don't have road rage. in New York, there will be people who don't have road rage, but in those cities, it is more common. Like in New York, you watch the videos of people almost killing one another on the road because of road rage, one overtaking the other, loud hooting. People don't act like that in Austria, and I love how they give one another way, right? They really give one another way on the road. I hear my hubby saying, thank you so much while we are driving. Danke, 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 because people are giving him way. When I go outside and I'm about to enter maybe a mall, a shop, people open the door for me, especially the men. They open the door for you. Hello, grüß Gott. They just really well-mannered people, very proper, and you will enjoy it. Especially if you're not used to it, especially when you're used to people just yelling commands at you, people just banging the door in your face because the culture is okay with that, I guess, or it's the norm, everybody does it. You will be very happy to live in a place such as Austria or even visit because people are very well mannered. Number 2, why I love Austrians is how they're always ready to small talk. Just today, I was at the park and there was an elderly lady who came there. She sat and then she just said, hello. She sat down and I was on the next bench and I was sitting there on my phone. And then she was like, oh mein Gott, ich glaube mein Zug ist schon da. Which is basically German for, oh my gosh, I think my train is already here. And then she ran to the train station, this little poor sweet old lady. And then she came back and I was like, did you miss it? And she was like, no. It comes in about 40 minutes. I still have time to sit. And we small talked for like 20 minutes straight because that's Austrians for you. They are always ready to small talk with a stranger. They're not going to like be invasive for the most part. Again, there are exceptions. There are some people who only want to small talk you, but in reality what they want to do is be invasive, especially if you're a foreigner. So obviously there will be exceptions, but I'm talking about the majority. I just love how when I go out to the lakes, to the rivers, we have very beautiful beaches here at the lake, to the for a picnic, to the parks. There's always an Austrian who you will small talk if you want to. A lot of them, they don't mind small talk, and if you're like me, like you're friendly, you will like it. However, a disclaimer, they are friendly but not necessarily your friends. Video for another day, but you will just enjoy the chilled, small talk ready nature of Austrians. Same to Tanzanians and Canadians, but like I said, this is a video primarily about Austrians. Number 3, why I love Austrian people is how reasonable they are. Again, do not come for me. I know there are exceptions, okay? I know that I have to do my lipstick again because now this straw. I know there will be Austrians who are not reasonable. I get that, but trust me when I tell you, as somebody who has lived in Austria and has worked in Austria for some time, trust me when I tell you that you will meet a lot of reasonable people in Austria. They are not unreasonable, illogical people for the most part. I don't know if that has to do with how they are still very small and conservative, or maybe it has something to do with the education system or just the culture generally. I am not sure what that is about, but Austrians are not illogical people. They are very logical. You can sit down with an Austrian and reason things out with them. Even if they don't like you, they will still reason it out with you. They are just very willing to listen to the other side. And unlike, there's a country that I could name if I wanted to. It's in the Middle East where they don't listen to the other side at all. But let me just say that in Austria, for the most part, I need to burp just a second. Let me just take some water because I don't want to go burping in the car. there's nothing like a nice, smooth champagne when the sun is shining, you know, it's just a good feeling, and not too much, just a little bit. In Swahili we say ya kutoa bofis. Actually, that's not Swahili, that is Sheng, which is a corruption of Swahili. So a lot of Austrian people, like I said, are reasonable. They will be ready to listen to your side of the story, including the police. I don't think I've ever met police that are as friendly as Austrian police. I remember one time having to report something, and without getting into too many details, I think I've reported things 3 times. One of the times is when the one guy, if you have been following me for a while, you already know the story, the guy who broke into my place, so I had to report to the police. And another time something else happened, and a third time it wasn't a bad thing that had happened, but I had to explain something to the police on behalf of somebody else. They even offered me a coffee at the cop station, and they were just like, you know, as a by the way, not even thinking too much about it. They were pouring themselves a coffee at the cop station, and they asked me, "Didamen, wollen Sie auch ein Kaffee oder?" And I was like, "Yeah, sicher." And that was German of like, "Would you also like one?" And they just poured me a cup of coffee. Police! If you come from Kenya, that is unheard of. That is crazy. That could never happen. The only thing Kenyan police are giving you is a slap. Okay? Fourth reason as to why I love Austrian people is because Germans exist. I love Austrian people because Germans exist. And for as long as Germans will exist, I will always love Austrians. Write that down so you don't forget it. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard me correctly. As long as this world, planet Earth, has people called Germans, I will always love Austrians. But if you've never lived with Germans, you will not understand it. If you've never worked with Germans, you will not understand it. It is the kind of point that only a person who has lived with Germans can understand. Only a person who has experience working in Europe will understand. And oh, the sun is about to disappear, and it's so good today. Sun-kissed. Only a person sorry, my throat is so dry. As long as people called Germans are alive, I will always love Austrians. Noch einmal, solange es Deutsche gibt, werde ich Österreicher leben. I am telling you, as long as people called Germans, Deutsche, under the sun, I will always love Austrians. You see, where do I even start? Germans are very well German. They act very well German. They behave in a very well German way. They have a sense of humor that is very German. And they talk in a very German way. And unless you've lived here, I know you have no idea what I'm talking about. You will beg to live with Austrians. If you had the choice between the two, you will beg that an Austrian shows up. But on the other hand, Germans make the best machines globally. So their German behavior has a pro. You see, a German, even when they ask you a question, right? This is a German human being asking me a question, meaning they need information from me. They start teaching you about something they didn't even know. I mean, dude, you asked me, so can you stop Germaning? They just German their way through life. Another thing, these are just now examples. If you've never lived in Europe, you've never interacted with these people, you are just lost. Thank God that you're lost. Because some of us who've lived here and have worked with them and have, interacted with them even in private circles, we always know that's a German. They will ask you a question. Let's say they come to you and they ask you, what color is this pen? So, they don't know, right? They're asking you for the information. This is just an example. And you start to tell them, it's pink, It's also a little green, luminous green. It's blue, it's dark pink, and then it's light pink on the bottom. They will be like, danke. Now, if you decide to tell them, it's pink, it's luminous green, it also has a bit of luminous blue, and it has pink, dark pink, and it has light pink. And by the way, just so you know, it also has something like water inside, or I don't know what that is. Is it mercury? What is that? Is it a gel, a kind of gel? And when you shake it, there are some glitters that make it very beautiful. When you turn up to look at the German, they will be looking at you like that. And they will tell you straight up, I didn't ask you about the water that is inside or the gel that is inside or whether it glitters or not. I asked you for the color. That is German for you. They are always in a box. They are always in this tight box, and they will not do anything outside of that box. They will not dare color. Oh my gosh, color outside the box, color outside the picture. Are you crazy? You should be arrested. That is Germans. They are just the most non-spontaneous, non-flexible people you will ever meet. Again, it comes with its pros. It has its advantages, oder in Deutsch, Vorteil. That is, Vorteil is advantage in German. They have their advantages because they make very good machines, right? And they act like those good machines. If they ask you the color of this pen, just tell them the color of the pen. You see, an Austrian, if you tell them the color of the pen, plus the qualities of the pen, that it has glitters, Austrians will appreciate the extra info. They like small talk, right? Austrians will be like, das ist aber schön, darf ich schauen? Good. They already got their information that it's pink, green, blue, and purple and pink. They got the information. They are good, but you added a little bit of information. Austrians will be, but das ist sehr nett. Danke, Guy. Danke für die Info. Ich liebe das, ich habe mehr Info. Sehr gut. Sehr lieb von dir. Austrians are like that. Germans, das habe ich nicht gefragt. If you ask a German, what material is this? If they ask you and you tell them it's glass, just tell them it's glass and keep quiet. If you start telling a German, it is glass, but at the moment it has champagne in it, and I also happen to put a straw in there, which I'm sipping. A German doesn't want that info. They are so rigid. These are just silly examples I'm giving, but I guess you get the point. German all day. They will be Germaning on you all day. And another thing is that you know how basically a lot of Europeans are not spontaneous? Well, the Germans are very, 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 very not spontaneous. And obviously, again, there will be exceptions to that. There will be Germans who are spontaneous. But if you want to get this point even more, go to Instagram and watch this chick. She describes Germans perfectly with little skits that she does. And they are so funny, but they're also very educative. Just go to Instagram and search for this chick. You will see your typical German. Yes. So that's one of the reasons I love Austrians, because after you deal with Germans, there's a breather every time you meet an Austrian. Because Austrians are, I guess it's because of the way Austria is still very small, they're very conservative, it's still very quote-unquote village-like, even though, of course, there are some very big cities. Vienna is huge. It's very, very multicultural and very much metropolitan. Obviously, in the past when they had a monarchy, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Vienna was the capital city of the whole monarchy at some point. So Vienna is obviously very huge, but most of Austria outside of Vienna is very much traditional. They still have that which I love, and they still have that Sound of Music feel, and just mountains. Think of mountains, flowers, girls in dindles, and just nice music, mountain music, and cows, and the smell of nature. That is Austrians for you. Yes, I love them. The other thing about Austrians that I absolutely love is how they're always willing and ready to help. Can you imagine, in over 3 years that I have lived consecutively in Austria, it was only one time that somebody bluntly refused to help me. Once. So like I said, there are exceptions, but every time I was out in public and asked for help, Austrians are more than willing and more than ready to help you. As long as you ask respectfully, they will literally come with you to the place. Like you will ask them, do you know where the pharmacy is? They will tell you, yeah, es ist nicht so weit, geradeaus und dann erste Gang links und dann gehen Sie bisschen ungefähr 100 Meter. Weißt du was, geh mal mit, nicht so weit von hier. They will come with you. They still have that nature of like wanting to help. If you go to a supermarket and you ask where is the rice, like gerne. They're always just, they have this spirit of helping. It's not like you're disturbing them, or they're just, I love that attitude of Austrians when it comes to helping. One time, an Austrian refused to help me, and then I went home and I bitched to my husband because me, and I was like, oh, and then she was like, 9, and she just went, and I was like making a big deal out of it, and my hubby was like, wait, where did you say that happened? And I told him at the train station, and he was like, yeah, a lot of people are very careful at the train station because of pickpockets and things like that, and it was a huge train station in Vienna, so she probably thought, what does this foreigner want from me? And stereotypes. So even there's a reason. Apparently there's a lot of foreigners at train stations who pretend to be asking you a question while somebody else pickpockets you. So my hubby was like, because he was also surprised that an Austrian said, no, I'm not going to help you, because that's not them. Can you imagine? That's not the majority. This is why I love living here, and I love also dealing with them, because a lot of them are just looking forward to helping somebody who needs help. I need to go. Even though this person said they're going to be late, I think I've also taken too much time, but they would have called, so I don't need to worry. I need to step out, and those are my 5 main reasons why Austrians are some of my favorite people on earth. Again, my 3 most favorite people: Tanzanians, who are our next door neighbors. I'm from Kenya. Tanzania is the next door country. Canadians, every time, I don't know why, whether it was on vacation, at the airport, in restaurants, every time I have bumped into a Canadian, they were lovely. Did you know that Pamela Anderson is actually a Canadian? Pamela from Baywatch, and everybody who's worked with her says that she's very humble, very friendly, very nice. And Justin Bieber is also from Canada. Drake is a Canadian. Canadians have always just showed me so much grace. There's something good about them. I don't know what it is. And Justin Trudeau is hot. They have a very hot leader, Trudeau Bay. You guys remember when Melania met him and she was just blushing? I guess he has that effect on the ladies. Trudeau is hot. Anywho's, it was Tanzanians, Canadians, and Austrians, and I have given you my reason as to why I absolutely love Austrian people, a majority of them at least, and my experience here has been more good than not, and it's mostly because of dealing with logical, reasonable people. Again, there is 1 or 2 stupid, illogical, racist, everything in between, insecure Austrians, but thank God they are not in the majority, or like they say here, God sei Dank, they are not in the majority. Thank you very much for watching, and if it's your first time watching me, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I need to change my clothes. Bye!